What's up, my fellow warbirds? AK the War Eagle is back with another Devblog video, and this time we are taking a look at the new Trento. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. The Trento is the lead ship of the first Italian class of so-called treaty cruisers constructed for the Regione Marinara. Marina, not Marinara. In the mid-1920s. Docking soon to players' ports, Trento will round off the highly anticipated research tree of the Regione Marina as the top Italian warship awaiting captains in the War Thunder Major Update. An early 1920s Italian cruiser boasting excellent firepower and mobility at the expense of protection and survivability. Okay. In the early 1920s, with the signing of the Washington Naval Treaty, Italian shipbuilders began studying the possibility of developing a new cruiser design that would match the restrictions imposed by the agreement. From the onset, it was clear that sacrifices in some aspects would need to be made in order to stay within the 1,000-ton treaty displacement limit. See, any nation that agrees to limits on whatnot on ships like this is stupid. As a result, Italian shipbuilders decided to focus on speed and firepower while keeping protection light in order to conserve weight. In the end, a design was presented which promised a top speed of around 350 knots, armed with 4 dual 8-inch turrets, and only slightly exceeding the treaty limitations. Despite having their reservations about the design, the Regione Marina ordered 2 ships to be built in the mid-1920s, the Trento and the Trieste. I'm guessing that's how it's pronounced. Thus forming the Trento class of heavy cruisers. Still not convinced, however, the Regione Marina would subsequently place orders for a more balanced heavy cruiser design, later becoming the Zara class cruisers, but that's perhaps a story for another devblog. Hint, 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 hint. Trento itself, named after the city in the northern regions of Italy, was laid down on in February of 1925, being launched in October 1927, and finally entering the service of the Regione Marina in April of 1929. In the interwar periods, Trento undertook a tour of South American countries, protected Italian nationals during the Chinese Civil War, and ferried Italian volunteers from the Spanish Civil War back to Italy in 1938. During the war, Trento and Trieste took part in numerous actions in the Mediterranean theater, frequently clashing with detachments of the Royal Navy. Most notably, Trento took part in the Battle of Calabria, Cape Spartivino, and Cape Maltapan. I'm guessing that's how that's pronounced. From 1940 to 1941. In 1942, however, during an Italian counter in the Allied Operation Harpoon, Trento sustained torpedo hits from a British torpedo bomber, as well as a submarine. The resulting magazine detonation caused by the second torpedo hit led to the warship sinking below the waves in a matter of minutes. Trento was formally struck from the Italian Navy register in the immediate post-war period of 1946. In War Thunder, Trento will be the top vessel awaiting eager captains in a brand new Italian naval tree, coming to the game in the next major update. Lightly armored but boasting excellent mobility and devastating firepower, Trento is bringing with it a distinct Italian flavor Italian flavor, food, to naval top-tier battles in the next major update. Trento's primary armament consists of 8 203mm cannons split between 4 dual turrets, with 2 super-firing turrets being located on the ship's bow and stern respectively. The hard-hitting primary armament features solid ballistic properties and a comparable rate of fire to other heavy cruisers in the game, except of course for the Graf Spee, because that thing is so overpowered. Furthermore, the ship's arsenal also sports 6 twin 100mm dual-purpose autocannons, as well as 4 twin 37mm and 4 single 40mm cannons, in addition to another 4 dual 13.2 Beretta heavy machine gun mounts. Dadgum! This thing is going to be packing some anti-air heat. Trento captains will also have access to 2 fixed dual 533mm torpedo launchers on either side of the ship, rounding off the ship's weapons arsenal. Good night, this thing is armed to the teeth. While Trento boasts respectable firepower, its armor protection strikes a different tone, namely being so-called treaty cruiser. Italian shipbuilders were required to keep the ship's displacement as low as possible in order to maximize firepower and mobility results. Trento also only received a modest 70 millimeters of armor in construction of its armored belt, while the conning tower is encased in 100 millimeters of steel plating. The ship's comparably lightweight protection, in addition to only having a crew complement of 723 sailors, makes the Trento ill-suited for leading its allies into battle. Instead, captains are better off utilizing the ship's excellent firepower and mobility to attempt to outflank their opponents. Having touched the subject of mobility, this is one area in which Trento, like many Italian vessels, truly excels at. Being powered by a 150,000 horsepower propulsion system, Trento is able to achieve a top speed of 35 knots, or 64.8 kph, while its long and sleek hull gives it good levels of agility during maneuvers. Effectively, Trento captains need to rely on the ship's mobility in order to prevent enemy fire from hitting its mark. Trento will arrive in War Thunder naval battles as part of the Italian naval tree with the release of the next major update, coming very soon. In the meantime, be sure to keep scanning the horizon as we release more news and information regarding the next major update. Until then, calm seas and happy hunting, captains. So yeah, my thoughts on this. Of course, I don't play Italy all that much, especially not the Navy, but this thing, in terms of firepower, oh boy, it's going to be packing some heat. With that said, though, the way that top-tier naval plays, with how low armor it is, I don't know. I think this will be good if you can ambush an enemy ship, but it's, in some of the matches, it's definitely probably going to suffer, especially if it gets, focused right at the beginning of the match. So, I mean, pros and cons. But yeah, I'm still looking forward to the Italian Navy coming to the game. Definitely something new and interesting. But anyway, of course, if you guys did like what you saw, don't forget to also leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't done so already in order to keep up with more news. Don't forget to hit that notification bell icon. Leave a comment on what you guys are looking forward to in the next upcoming update. And if I haven't mentioned it already, don't forget to also leave a like. Oh, and the link to Discord is in the description below. And as always, I hope you guys have enjoyed.